Welcome to Changing the Sales Game podcast on webtalkradio.net. I'm your host, Connie Whitman. Thanks for tuning in today.
Now, I hope every week as you tune in, you are feeling my energy that sales is not an icky thing. It's really, selling should come from a place of love, care, and respect. And to help you with that little bit of a mindset shift, you know I have a gift for you. Go to my website and take my free communication style assessment, which will really help you understand what your natural superpowers are, but it'll also shine a light on those blind spots so you could go in, and probably the blind spots is where we need to do a little bit more understanding so we can overcome those challenges. So go to whitmanassociates.com/CSA. It is my free gift to you. Now, my motivational quote today is by the amazing Zig Ziglar. And it's a long quote, but it's so worth it because Zig is just brilliant. When you encourage others, you in the process are being encouraged because you're making a commitment to that person's life. Encouragement really does make a difference. Now, do you think professional people need a business coach? And have you ever thought about the benefits of having a coach that might provide for you, your business, your career, whatever perspective you're coming from? Well, of course, today I have an amazing guest, my good friend and wonderful coach, Jennie Bellinger. Now, Jennie is a certified professional coach, and she's also the host of Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast. She works with badass direct sales moms to move from making $100 monthly to reaching the top 1% in their organization. An entrepreneur since 2010, she understands the desire to contribute to your family's future, be present as well, and also how difficult balancing those two priorities can truly be. So Jennie has learned the hard way while building two separate businesses, raising two kids, and navigating a divorce to fulfill that need to contribute. And for herself and for her children, she created direct sales, she's known as the direct sales Dom. I'm going to have to edit that. Let me do that again. She did that for her and her children. Jennie is also known as the direct sales Dom. Luckily, as a certified professional coach, her methods are very effective, not painful, which of course we all love. So please help me welcome my beautiful, amazing friend, Jennie, to the show. Thanks for being on.
Thank you, Connie. Oh my gosh, yeah. I have so much fun with that intro every time.
I just love it because you really are the badass, you're the badass Dom over there. I'm loving it. And I love the name of the podcast, right? It's, I think women, sometimes we shy away from our power, and being a badass is kind of a cool thing, right? It doesn't have that the other B word, right? Being a badass, like we can own that and step into our power. So I just love that phraseology, and you are truly like this badass. You have this badass, edge to you, but then you're just gentle and loving and wonderful, which I think most women are. So I'm so excited for our conversation today, and I know that you're going to be able to help a lot of people understand should they hire a coach and why they should hire a coach, because I do think it's important for all businesses to have a coach. So talk to me, how did you even get started for you in the direct sales realm?
Well, I, like many women, had gone into a career. I was a middle school science teacher for about 6.5, 7 years, and got pregnant with my first child, took some time off from teaching. And when it was time for me to go back into teaching, the whole world had a recession going on, the 2008 to 2012 recession happening. Yeah. And I couldn't get back into teaching because when a school had a choice between hiring someone, an award-winning teacher with 7 years of experience versus a brand new college grad, they couldn't afford me. Yeah. They couldn't afford me. So they would hire the new college grad. So I said, okay, well, I'm taking the hint from the universe. So if not teaching, then what? Yeah. And not even kidding you, less than 48 hours later, I get an invitation in my mailbox, because this was back when we still got invitations in your mailbox, to attend a a Park Lane jewelry fashion show. And so my sister-in-law at the time had just started with the company. They were brand spanking new in our area, but it was a company that had been around for years and years and years and years. But I didn't know that at the time. I was like, oh, this is a new thing. So got permission from my husband to go buy a thing to help my sister. And so that's what I did. And well, actually, I didn't buy anything that night because I walked away with a business. So,
wow.
But well, it was one of those. Here's the thing. Anytime there's a recession, anytime there is financial trouble, the world of network marketing explodes, like gets huge, because people go, oh, crap, I need income. I need to do something, and they are willing to step outside of their comfort zone because they're already uncomfortable enough with having either lost a job or just the whole world is going crazy, and they're like, man, I'm doing okay as a teacher, but I could really use some extra money just in case, or whatever their job may be. So network marketing does really well in times of financial trouble because people are willing to take a shot. They're willing to do something, anything to make a little extra money. And so that was my experience, because here I was in the world, literally in the middle of the recession. And so I went into it going, okay, well, I'm starting a business. At the time, it was $5 to start my business.
That's a no-brainer.
Right? I was like, no, seriously, like, what's the catch? Like, what's the catch? And at the time, there wasn't one. They just, and still, Park Lane Jewelry, to my knowledge, does not have a catch with starting the business. It's, hey, give it a shot, do 5 parties. You don't love it? Walk away with the cash, the jewelry, all the things, right?
Yeah, right. That's right.
And many companies are like that. Give it a shot, try it out for a while, see if it works. Well, here's the thing that I knew. I'm not somebody who half-asses anything. I'm going to badass whatever it is. If I'm jumping into it, I'm badassing it all the way. And so I knew that I needed to do something with this, and this was obviously the direction the universe was pointing me in, because if not teaching, then what?
Yeah, and that's a great story, and I love that it came in your mailbox. That's just so funny. We're old school, so some of the younger people listening are like, "Wait, you got something in your mailbox? Mail still exists, right? The snail mail." So that was just kind of a chuckle for me. The cool thing, though, about the MLM, this kind of marketing that you jumped into. I love, because you can do it as a side hustle if you're a teacher or or even if you're a stay-at-home mom, so that you can find for you, right, that balance. Being a mom and being a teacher, that's why I think a lot of women got into teaching initially, way back when, because you could be home with the kids during the summer and you had the same vacation, and it was easy, right? You get home around the same time as the kids do. So you didn't have to worry about that, having someone to take care of the children, especially once they hit that age of 5 or 6. But this is such a great thing to do as a side hustle, even if you really need a company with benefits and all those other things. The other thing I wanted to comment on, you said that you were already uncomfortable, right? Because you couldn't find a job. So you're already outside of that comfort zone of, things are good, just kind of let me coast along. You were already pushed out of that kind of a vibe. So you were open to this new way of thinking, right? And it was such a low entry price point that it really became a no-brainer. And the other thing I wanted to comment, as you said, you knew you were going to, get in there and not half-ass it. You're going to really put the pedal to the metal, give 100%, and, do your magic. And I think that people who get into any type of sales, whether it's like you or like me, whatever, but when it starts, especially with a side hustle, and then becomes something that you're doing full-time, or you choose to do it full-time, like in your situation, I think people like that don't do things half-ass, where they're getting in there and thinking, I have a shot. I have all of this time now, right? You had the time because you couldn't get back into teaching. Why not use my time wisely? And the other thing I think is, what's the old saying? Give a busy person something to do and they'll find the time. So when you have somebody who's doing it even as a side hustle, they're so organized with their time and have that need of building something for themselves long term, maybe so they can quit their full-time job to spend more time with the kids or whatever it is, right? To find kind of that life balance. I think we get super organized, and you get to put the tunnel vision on, right? Which is important when you're starting something new. So you just said there were so many gems in what you just said. I kind of wanted to pull them out for people listening, because I think instinctively people think, well, she couldn't get back into teaching, so, it fell in her lap, and, but that's not going to happen to me. Well, maybe you can proactively look and see if there's something, if you've been like percolating that I wish I had more income, or I wish I had more control, or I wish I had more time with my family, whatever those kind of what's the word, resonating in your brain, kind of bouncing around in your brain. You're listening to the show for a reason, perhaps, right? This might be the universe responding to you. So just so many good nuggets in that, Jen, just so many good nuggets.
And to reciprocate back to you, right? That what you just said there, you can go look for these opportunities, right? So I happen to have this jewelry thing fall in my lap, as you said, right? I'm sure had I turned down the jewelry thing, something else would have popped up.
Absolutely.
Right? Because that's the way the universe, that's the way the world works. There's always opportunity there. It's just whether or not you're looking for it, asking for it. And I was asking for it. I said, okay, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, source, everybody has a different name for it, right?
Yep.
I said, okay, universe, if not teaching, what? And that's what showed up. And I went, okay, I'm going to give it a shot, because I asked, and the universe said, here, look at this, right? And I think for people who are having those thoughts that you were just talking about, and they're going, okay, so maybe network marketing might be a thing for me. And maybe the reason that, because their sister, their friend, their cousin, whatever, had invited them to this other thing and they didn't feel attracted to it, doesn't mean you're not attracted to network marketing. It means you're not attracted to the company or the product or the person who invited you.
That's right.
And so if you are looking for another option, at any given time, there are 300 direct sales companies that are active in the United States alone.
It's amazing.
At any given time. At any given time, there are 300 of them. There is every product, service, anything you can think of that one can sell. There's a direct sales company out there for it. They have crypto-based companies now. They have service-based companies now. And I mean, in services, like there are network marketing cell phone services, network marketing direct TV, satellite TV, service-based companies. There's a company that takes care of bedroom and relationship enhancement needs.
Oh my God, I love it.
Of course there is. Of course there is. Anything you can think of. So you just got to know, okay, what am I passionate about? Is it health? Is it wealth? Is it helping people save money? Because there are network marketing companies that are based in the financial services industry, guys. I mean, literally anything you can think that you are passionate about. There are pet companies. I mean, I'm not even kidding you. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, there is a company out there for you. You just have to find it.
It's so exciting. See, I find that living today, right, in 2021, and it's such an exciting time. There's an app for that. Well, there's a direct marketing company for that. And you could choose your zone of genius or your zone of interest or your zone where you're passionate. And I think that's important too, that if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you become like a zombie going through life. And I think, I mean, I have men listeners too. So guys, send your wives, your kids, your daughters, if they need help with this. But I think that even men can do direct marketing too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so many options out there. Yeah.
Big time. Now, here's the thing. I do find, interestingly enough, that there seem to be more men in certain sectors, categories than other, right?
Sure.
You're not going to find very many men in the jewelry or makeup space.
Sure.
Right? There are some, right? But those are very special guys who totally get it and recognize that, hey, I can make a lot of money at this.
Absolutely.
What I do find is there do tend to be more men who end up in either the health and nutrition space,
Yes.
or any of those service-based companies, or the crypto arena,
Yeah.
right, or the financial arena, because men are just typically more attracted to those things because they go, okay, that fits within my passion, what I'm interested in learning more
Sure.
about, how they want to help other people necessarily. Whereas there are many companies and products that are more geared towards women. So
Yeah.
they're naturally going to attract
Yeah.
women more so than men. But when you look at the industry as a whole, anywhere from 24 to 26% of the entire industry are men.
Wow, that's a pretty big percentage. The other thing too that I think is cool that we have, because especially because of the internet now with Zoom and meetings, that you can really cast your net of exposure, especially if you're really good and you're passionate, you believe in whatever the product is or the service, you can really cast your net pretty darn quickly. So I have a friend, Jillian Lockitch, and her daughter Amanda. Shout out to my good buds. They're in Canada. They're on the west coast of Canada. I'm on the east coast of the United States, and New Skin is the company they work for, and I love their products. And I met her and I bought, and now I have a subscription. So there's certain things that you can even go international, beyond the borders as well. So I just feel like the opportunity is so exponential. And the other thing I think is we're all getting to the point, most of us, where we're like, wow, I wish I had more control of my time and money. And I know that's why I started my business 20 years ago, because in the banking industry, right, I was in the financial sector, and there was merger manias going on. Every year it's like, oh, am I going to have a job? And I had two little ones at home. And I reached the point for me where I'm like, I got to get out. I have to create my own business so I can get control. I wanted time with my kids. I wanted that balance. So I chose to open my own business. But it's the same concept that now we can do something as a side hustle too, if you're unsure, to start to build that control of income and time, and then parlay that into something full-time. Options, I think we all have choice, and having those options now, like you said, any sector, any industry, any passion, it's got something for you. Wow, what a great time to be alive. Now,
Amen.
That's amen. So you started in doing that out of necessity, right? You needed the financial compensation, right? Because the teaching kind of went to the wayside. Why did you shift into coaching? That's so fascinating.
Oh, gosh. Okay. So I was with my company for 7 years, and I remember about 5.5 years into it, anybody who's been somewhat involved in a network marketing or direct sales business, that every quarter or maybe every month or a couple times a year, your regional leaders will have some big rah pep rally training conference workshop thing at a local hotel, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember walking into one of those in a hotel, and there had been, of course, now I get the frog in my throat here. Give me just a second. So I remember walking into the hotel and looking around this room of around 100, 150 women. And I had this light bulb moment when I looked around and went, there's only 4 of us in this room now who were here 5 years ago.
Wow.
Right? When I started, only four of the women in the room, and this was a room that had 100, 150 women. And I went, okay, what? And we were all people who had made it up the ladder, who were leaders in the room, who were training, who had teams, who were building. We were earning the trips, earning the car, earning the cash bonuses and all the various incentives, right? And I started having this moment, this thought of, okay, so what makes us different, right? What helped us become successful? So I started having conversations with these ladies, not like, hey, I need to pick your brain and blah, blah. It was, hey, I have a couple questions for you. What do you think has made you successful, right? What's kept you in this for, we've been doing this for 5 years now. What makes you different? What makes me different, right? And just starting to listen to these ladies. And then I started approaching other women in other companies who had been there for 5 years or more. and asking them the same question. And what I then, because I also have, so I was a middle school science teacher. I have a science background. I'm kind of analytical.
Yeah,
at times,
absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So I started digging into the research on Google, on network marketing, direct sales statistics, things like that. And what I found was that there's a 90% turnover rate in 5 years.
Wow.
And I mean, seriously, just think about it. When I had started my direct sales business, I was in that hotel rah room with 100-something people, and 5 years later, 4 of us were still there. 96% turnover rate.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Right on par, because some companies have higher or lower. So when you look at the average, around 90%.
Right.
And I thought, okay, so that's a thing in this business. So what makes those of us who've been doing this for 5 years or more so successful? And I found that there are 4 keys that lead to that success. And I realized, okay, so now if I can help people recognize what those keys are and grab those keys and unlock them in the right locks at the right time for them and their business, I can help more women experience success. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm opposed to helping men be successful, because I do have coaching clients who are direct sales dads.
I love it.
It's in proportion to the number of women who
Absolutely.
are in direct sales, right?
Yeah, that is what it is.
25% of my clients are men, 75% of my clients are women. But my focus is really working with moms, because I am a direct sales mom.
Yeah.
That's who I am. So it makes sense that that's who I attract into it, as well as the direct sales dads. All the men that I help are dads. Every single one.
And see, this strikes me so funny, because I do believe nothing happens by accident, right? So that not getting back into teaching after you had the kids, right? And then the male of the jewelry, getting into direct sales. But see, you truly are, and it's like that entrepreneurial curiosity where you see the opportunities. That's and there's nothing wrong, right? Working for a company, there's nothing wrong with that. My husband works for a company, right? So everybody should not be an entrepreneur. I do believe that. So, but you have that entrepreneurial curiosity of saying, well, wait a minute, something's amiss here, because 4 people, why? And again, I'm giggling because that was your science background, like the why, right? Albert Einstein, the why, the science of, wait, why is this happening? Cause effect. So that curiosity, entrepreneurial spirit, scientific background. It's just funny how we utilize our skills and our superpowers, and how like 5 years later you look back and you go, yeah, that makes sense now why I examined that room from that perspective. That was your science background, that natural piece of you to see, plus that entrepreneurial spirit, kind of, the perfect storm, right, came together and created that observation. And then the other thing I wanted to comment on, right, sales. You have to ask freaking questions, people. We go in with a product and you think you know what the client needs, and you start vomiting your product at the client. That's the icky, sleazy, horrifying, right? By asking the questions, you truly know, am I the right fit? When you coach, when you went and asked those questions, it was, should I help? Is there even an opportunity for me to help? Not, I want to start a business, so let me ask the question so that these people hire me. Not, that wasn't even part of the realm of your thought process. It was curiosity. Let me ask the right questions and see if the opportunity is here. For me, sales, everyday sales, no matter what position you have, it's curiosity of your client situation, and then do you really have something that is a solution for whatever's going on? And if you don't, maybe you have a resource that can help them. Share it, man, right? It's not about the almighty dollar of slam bam, thank you, ma'am. And that's that sleazy part. And everything you're describing is that curiosity part. And as sales people, right, you direct sales, me, just teaching sales, it's got to be from that place of curiosity to help the client. So I just love how you position that. Again, that's just my perspective, right, of my bird's eye view of what you said.
And that's and you're exactly right, because that's one of the 4 keys to success is understanding the effective sales process.
Yep.
Right? It's not about increasing sales at the expense of all things. It's being effective in your sales and understanding all of that. So, that's That's the third out of my 4 keys, because my 4 keys, of course. All right. So I'm going to give you guys the inside look.
Yes, I love it.
How this works, right? So my podcast is called Badass Direct Sales Mastery. BDSM. I'm the direct sales dom who helps women whip their business into shape. All 4 of my keys to success my 4 keys start with BDSM. That's how I can remember them so easily.
I love it.
So it's all these things that we've been accidentally hitting on, right? Which is the B is business. You've got to have a business mindset. You can't go into this like the people who want success, the people who who have that special vision, who have a place that they want to go with their business. You can't go into this with a side gig mentality, right? You do side gig mentality, you get side gig results, which is fine. I have no judgment around somebody who wants to do this as a side gig and just make a few $100s on the side. That's great. But here's the thing. Most people do not get into this just to make a few $100s. They go into it because they have the dream of that 1%er,
Absolutely.
that 10%er.
That's right.
Who is making, 4 or 5 figures a month.
Yeah.
6 figures a year. That's the dream.
That's right.
Right? And unfortunately, because they don't go into it with the full-on business, all-in commitment, right? That we talked about in the very beginning. I was all in.
Yeah.
Right? I don't half-ass anything. And that was one thing that I found was a consistent truism amongst all of these people that I talk to who are successful. They did not go into this going, oh, well, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll work.
Right.
No, I'm going to make this work.
Absolutely.
Right? Sorry, I just dropped an F-bomb.
That's okay.
Because that's how most people said it, right? Because anybody who's in my world, that we that's how we talk.
Yeah. Because you're badass.
Yeah, exactly. But they said, I am going to make this work. It's not, well, if it works, great, or not. No. They went into this like, I'm going to make this happen.
Full throttle.
Come hell or high water, this is going to happen, right? The second part is the discipline, the D, discipline, right? Find your system, create your system, stick to it. Work on changing your habits, habits of thought, habits of language, habits of action to create success for yourself over time, right? Discipline is not an overnight change.
That's right.
If anybody who thinks that discipline is this magic, pill that just magically makes you better overnight, no wonder you're frustrated and pissed off.
That's right.
It's a thing that takes time. And especially if you're working on habits of thought, though, that takes time. Habits of language, that's a faster shift, right? Because you go, oh, wait, I just said the wrong thing. Reverse, rewind. Let me go back and say that again, right?
Yep.
You can change that a little bit more quickly, but it still takes practice. And habits of action, that also takes practice, takes time. The third part is the sales piece that we talked about already, right? Just understanding effective sales. And we could go on. Hello, you've got a podcast all about sales.
Exactly.
Right? Effective sales process. You are never done learning
Absolutely.
About sales. You really aren't. And if you think you know everything about sales, you're wrong.
It's true.
You're wrong. There's always more
something
to learn, to tweak,
Absolutely.
to make it better. There's just so much there that to get the results that you want. And then the last key to success is the mentoring, right? Which you also addressed at the very beginning without me even throwing, I didn't even lob that ball at you. You just thrust it up and spiked it right down. Hey guys, you need a coach, right?
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that people have to hire their mentors. And here's the other little nugget here I want to share with your audience. You can have more than one mentor.
Yes.
You can have more than one coach. Because what's interesting to me is I have people who I'm in conversation with, and they'll say, well, I've got my upline. Why do I need a coach? I've got my upline. And I'm like, great. Is your upline trained, certified, licensed, whatever you want to call it, in knowing how to get you the results you want? Oh, maybe not. I'm not saying they aren't, right? But there's a difference. They're also working their own business. That's the thing about direct sales. It's the one industry where the higher you climb, you get more responsibility. You do make more, but you get more responsibility because you're still working your personal business. There's no direct sales model that lets a leader get to the top and stop working their own business. You have to have a minimum amount in order to qualify, because who's going to listen to a leader who isn't doing it themselves?
That's right. The proof's in the pudding, right? Yep.
Yeah. So, having a mentor who is, or mentors, right? And then the other side of that is mentoring others.
Yes. Yeah.
Because if you really want to learn something, teach it.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
So bringing other people on to your network marketing team and mentoring them, or maybe they're not coming onto your team. Maybe you just happen to befriend somebody at a direct sales or network marketing vendor event, right? And you have knowledge that they don't. Share it with them, because that helps you better understand it. The number of times I've been coaching my own clients and went, holy crap, I just got a deeper insight to this thing that I just taught
Absolutely.
you.
Absolutely. It's funny, Jen, because I do agree. Understanding something, the mastery, I think, comes when you're able to not only execute the action, right? The action gets the results, all of those, the discipline, all those things you talked about. But as soon as you can translate and teach someone else to do that, to get the results, it's always about the results. It's not just teaching and going, oh, I'm so smart. No, you're teaching. They're able to duplicate whatever your process is or your recommendations are. So they put those actions in place and they get the results, because the results is where the measurement is. That's where the magic happens. And it's so funny because, and I laugh, I have my 9-week online class, and they get me every week coaching. And I giggle every week because they'll ask a question and I'll say, well, all right, let me break this down 3 different ways, because 3 of you are going to look at this from a different perspective. And when I start to dig in, they all look at me and go, how'd you do that? And I go, what did I do? And they say, oh my God, it's like you were in my head, that you know how I would share that with a potential client. I go, 39 years. I see crap that nobody else in the world has seen. 39 years doing a certain skill, you become a master, that you have so much in your head that you're able to pull and teach because you've gotten the actions, you've lived, you breathe it. That's what you're talking about. And the other thing I wanted to say is I am a business coach. I teach sales, right? All these things. Guess what? I have a business coach, because you can't just live in your own perspective and your own line of vision, because I started with my communication style assessment. We have blind spots. Hello, I have blind spots. So you need to expose yourself to someone who's a little bit further ahead of you in different realms. So for me, Jennie, last year when COVID hit, I had 20 years of all of this great curriculum, live training with corporate clients. Woohoo! Now all of a sudden it stopped. The world literally stopped spinning, and I had to create a digital platform. I knew nothing about Zoom. I knew nothing about digital. I had to hire a coach, and he's brilliant. Michael Neely, a shout out to my buddy.
I love Michael.
He's brilliant, everybody. But I hired him, and I continue to work with him because he covers my blind spot. And the other funny thing is, now he and I, because you work with someone long enough, we have this wonderful relationship where we get to brainstorm for my zone of genius and his zone of genius, and really can co-create now. So you want to build those relationships. You need those mentors. You need those coaches. You can't do it alone. I really believe that. So we're out of time, but I just want to share, if you are in direct marketing, and I mentioned my friends Jillian and Amanda Lockett, who I'm going to share with Jennie because I think they need to meet. But if you need help, just jump on a call or go to, and I'm going to give you Jennie's 2 ways to connect with her. She's advanced technologically compared to me. She said text her at, you're going to text her capitals BADASS, BADASS, and you're going to put, how do you text her? Go to 55312, and all you have to do, in caps, badass, and she will get the message from you and respond. Of course, you can go to her website, which is badassdirectsalesmastery.com. Check her out, get a vibe of what she's all about, see if she's good for you. If you have questions about getting into direct sales, pick her brain. She's lovely, she's wonderful, she's approachable, and again, you have this tremendous wealth of a resource. Find her, use her, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Don't use it against her, but use her vast knowledge to help. And Jennie, you know I love you. You're just brilliant and fun, and that's the other thing. And I think I said it in the intro, right? It's not only about changing the behavior, but it's having fun along the way. This doesn't have to be a misery or a miserable kind of experience. So again, check out her website, badassdirectorymastery.com, salesmastery.com, or text badass to 55312. Don't worry, all of that will be in the show notes. Jen, you're a delight to hang out with. Thank you so much for sharing your experience and you know, the crossroads that we all find or face and how you navigated it. So thank you for that. And then just, you know, sharing your badass little acronym there. I love it. So thanks. It's so good seeing you too.
Thank you, Connie. Right back at you. I so appreciate you giving me some time here to share this with your audience. It's,
you know what, we gotta support each other. And again, I love sharing people like you because you do have this zone of genius, and direct sales is a thing now. I mean, it's so much more. There's so many more companies that business structure just works for and it makes sense for. So people are able to jump in at different price points is just amazing. I love that we have these opportunities for everybody, young and you know, people who are looking to do these things as they retire. Like they retire and they think, man, I got more mojo in me. I want to do more. This is a great opportunity, right? To use all of that knowledge that you've amassed over a lifetime and put it into a business acumen like direct sales. Just so many. Oh my gosh, we could talk on and on. So thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for your brilliance and sharing it with my people. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Changing the Sales Game podcast with me, your host, Connie Whitman, on webtalkradio.net.
Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review and share it with your friends. Tune in every week for more exciting insights and strategies on increasing your business's ROI. And always remember, lead with heart and your sales will follow.